okay. We're okay. We're okay. We're okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dimlits, where we are not the brightest bulbs in the box. This is a podcast where we talk about Pixar movies because why not?
Well, it is the lamp. Love it. Sorry.
You're right. Every time he does talk, it's
not every time. I just
not every time. When he talked about Machine Gun Kelly, smart things came out in that.
So not talking, just making noises.
Yeah. He makes good noises.
Right.
See, now he knows he does.
Like a Scooby-Doo thing.
I can't do it. Regardless. This is the
Regardless.
Thank you. This is the 14th episode of this series where we cover all the Pixar movies, and today...
Episode 14 already?
Yeah, man.
Oh,
today it's a sequel to an early one. It's Monsters University.
Or a prequel.
It's still a sequel.
No, it's a prequel.
Yes. It's a prequel, but if it comes after it, it's still a sequel.
No, but it takes place before it, so it's a prequel.
Shut up. So, it came out in 2013, a full 12 years after its predecessor, made a lot of money. I saw this when it came out in theaters, and I have not seen it since until this podcast. And for the longest time, almost a decade, I thought it was fine.
It is.
Similar thoughts. But this rewatch...
I didn't like it the first time.
Oh, you didn't like it the first time?
Really?
The rewatch has changed a little bit for me.
Really?
Changed for you.
Quite a bit.
It's about the same for you?
It's about... It changed like by 0.5 of a star, if I were to say how much it changed. It didn't change all that much, honestly. I still enjoyed it. I still got enjoyment out of it.
Gotcha. Well, today we're gonna talk about what we at least thought was better a second time around, and why many people consider this the best non-Toy Story sequel in Pixar's catalog.
I guess that's...
I will get into it.
Yeah,
so without further ado, Monsters University. Let's see if I was mean like a year ago.
when you wrote this. This is fun. Oh, it's a little mean-hearted.
It is true. It doesn't need to exist, but. Did you ever wonder how Mike and Sully met? No? Well, nobody really did. Watch Pixar retcon a throwaway line about the fourth grade from the first film and in turn create a completely unnecessary sequel that is perfectly fine, serviceable. It's got a couple of nice moments, I guess.
That's your spiel.
It is a bit mean, and on this rewatch, I was like, no, I like this. I like this better. Yeah. I never called it bad. It's not bad. At first, I was like, whatever.
I think prequels like this are a bit harder to take when you don't necessarily want them, but like a couple of years after they exist, it's like, yeah, okay.
you kind of mellow after because like you're angry. You're like, why are they?
I think the same thing about Scrubs Med School. The true ending to Scrubs, as you like to say.
Yeah.
When it came out, I was like, this is dumb comparatively. Why are they doing this? And then I went back and watched it when it's got the little Franco. Dave. Yeah. It's not bad. It's funny. I like
really?
It.
It's just in the moment you're like, I don't want this, and it's like you gear yourself to hate it.
I mean,
yeah, it's like watching Korra after
right after
Avatar, or like watching Toy Story 4.
That's what I was gonna say.
After, well, assuming that you like Toy Story 3, after watching Toy Story 3.
I mean, it's still like I was like for Toy Story 4, I was like, I don't want this. I do not want this. And then it was great. For University, I was like, I really don't need this.
And then at the end, you're like,
okay, it exists. It's canon.
I didn't really have any of those emotions as the first time I ever watched Monsters Inc. was that 2 or so years ago when we ranked them all.
Was that the first time you'd seen Monsters Incorporated?
I think so.
Wow. So you've seen both of them twice now. You saw this one before that one, or you saw this one that same year?
After.
Gotcha. So it's only been a couple years for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how now it's well. You were never really super connected to Monsters Incorporated because you watched it at age 34, 33, something like that.
Whenever we did that, it was in like 2019 or something like that.
I think it was 2020.
Was it really?
I think it was.
2020 is still going on, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the same year.
Yeah. I remember going to the group that went to the theater to watch this was the same group that like a week or two later said, "You want to go see a movie again?" And I said, "What movie is it?" Because I'm real picky. And they're like, "Parental Guidance." Absolutely not. You can go watch that.
No, I got
that.
some
That was
stuff
great.
to do.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I didn't even like. I straight up said, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
It was a great little movie. I had fun with that. What are you talking about? Wasn't that bad?
Anyway,
That's in character. Yes. So, wow. Who wants to start going deeper into this then? Did you write notes down?
I did. I have some notes. Let me go ahead and whip open my note app here.
Jake, you start. Dickey's looking for his notes.
well, while Dickey's looking for his notes, I like this movie more this time. I think I liked it quite a bit more. I like the first like 30 minutes the best, and like the last 15 or so. Like the middle part bored me, like when they get into the games part, and you and I were talking about that
Yeah.
a little
The
bit
games were
earlier.
boring you?
I'm not a competitive person, so like watching sports just doesn't do anything for me. So when you start getting into that type of storytelling, I'm just kind of like, okay.
It's funny because when we talked about this earlier, I said kind of the opposite. I was like, first 30, 40 minutes, I was kind of like, yeah, it's fine. The second the game started, I was like, let's go.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm trying to remember. I think at one point the song, like, you know, that da 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 da, like I love the song in this. I'm pretty sure at one point it was trending on TikTok for a second. It came back. It's just that song that goes. I can't stop playing in my head now. That's all I hear. That ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da da da. They
play that during the montage at the end in the locker, right? Mm-hmm. And that goes into the credits.
It's such a cat like that. That's what gets the game. Like I love that, and then they get the game music and the cat. It's just yeah.
We're not quite there yet, but I did think that when they first cut to that locker scene, I thought it was the credits, and when it wasn't the credits, I was like, what?
It's basically showing us in a cool way
How they got to.
Yeah, and I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. Yeah.
I'm now thinking about something like how Jake kind of turned off to it when the game started, and I kind of turned on to it when the game started. And I was thinking, like, well, it's kind of funny how I remembered an extremely goofy movie better than a goofy movie for the longest time. Because
too.
I watched both as a kid, and I love both, but I always remembered extremely, not because it was on more, but because it was sport. It was the X Games.
Jared, me too.
So that's why it's the weird thing of,
like.
like, I have the childhood connection to a goofy movie. It's not this insane connection that most people have when they say they love it. Mm-hmm. It's more of a, I love it now. But it's like, then I didn't love it. I thought it was fine. Give me that second one with the X Games. Is it as good of a movie? No.
No, it doesn't have Roxanne in it.
Yeah, that. I remember
That
being
is
a kid.
literally a big part of the movie.
I know. I remember being a kid. I'm like, didn't he have like a girlfriend in the first one? What happened to her?
He moved on to college. Apparently.
I'm just a yearning for some learning.
God,
That came out on Leap Day in 2000.
did it really?
Yes, I remember the commercials.
That's a whole
Leap Day 2000. Then it's Goofy doing his.
He's rolling in his class with a big old like
An afro. He takes his hat off and it's an afro. Yep. And Max goes, no.
I remember that ad. Oh,
God, I'm just making that correlation now. It's like, oh, that's kind of fun. So I attached to the sports part. I remember being a kid, and whenever I'd watch sports movies with my friend who was also a sports person. We wouldn't care about the story. We just wanted to see the sports. And everyone's like, well, then why don't you watch sports? It's like, well, because the movie makes it funny. Yeah. It's like, we don't care if the story's bad. We just want to watch like the sports and like these made-up teams that they have in a lot of these movies.
Well,
that was the most fun part. That's why
I love watching like any like old school baseball games like Sandlot or stuff like that. Like that was also my go-to. I love that kind of stuff.
I remember we loved watching Any Given Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because the NFL would not let them use the teams, like the likeness of the team. So like, okay, so I just made up a bunch, and I go, this is fun.
That's and I love really quick. I have to praise all her glory because she's incredible. Aubrey Plaza has a small role in this, but I love her dearly.
That's right.
Yeah, she's one of the I'm trying to remember the exact the
Greek
character
Council
she has.
President.
It's just Greek Council President.
That's what I wrote.
Okay, well, whatever. Like oh my gosh, she is so much fun in this. I always want to sing her praise because she's in this. She's also in the White Lotus season 2. Please go watch that. Came out a while ago at the end of 2022, and it's fantastic. Go watch that. Aubrey Plaza is fantastic.
Funny he's on a movie podcast. He's talking about television shows.
Because Aubrey Plaza is one of my favorite actresses. She's great in Parks and Rec. Obviously, everybody knows her from, and she killed it in Ingrid Goes West, which is a deep, deep cut of a movie that everyone should also go watch.
I saw the end.
Oh, probably when you...
Yeah, I was actually. I watched because the timing was off, and I watched like 10 minutes, and I was like, I hate this.
It makes no sense without any of it.
I know, but I was like, she's really annoying. That's probably the point, but I really don't like this. Yeah. This is kind of annoying, but again, I don't have the context.
Yeah.
I also don't like her in Parks and Rec.
Is it?
She is one of my least favorite characters.
I love Aubrey.
Is
everyone
that
loves her.
the dark-haired girl with
Yes.
the one that's in Scott Pilgrim?
Yes.
Okay.
And honestly, just the whole cast for this movie. I forgot Nathan Fillion was in this.
Isn't he the big-horned guy?
Yeah.
He's the main, and he's Johnny.
You think I paid attention to their names when I was watching
When
this?
they say Johnny over and over?
You
yes.
think I paid attention to their names?
What's the main character's name?
What?
What's the main character?
Which one?
The main character.
There is no the main character.
We start the movie with him.
I mean, there's Mike. There's
It's Mike.
Sully.
It's Mike. The other movie is
Mike.
Sully's movie. This is Mike's movie.
I guess that's fair.
I still don't
Dan
know.
Scanlon literally
I still
said
don't know what the dean's name is.
Hard Scrabble.
I knew the Scrabble part. I'm like,
That's pretty hard to think of.
Hey, nicely done.
It is a good cast.
I do think it was funny.
who was the dinosaur teacher?
Professor Knight, that was Alfred Molina.
That was Alfred. Yes, that makes
I remember the first time I watched this. I remember the first in theaters. I was like, wait. So they don't just scare. There's like tactics and like different types of like scares and scaring and faces and technique. Did we just make this into like a science?
The science of scaring.
This guy isn't he just walking? What? Oh, okay. And then this time around, I was like, I kind of like that part of it. Now I'm not thinking about it. I know it's there, and I think because I already am aware of it being there, as we've said about rewatches, it doesn't bug me.
It also makes Sully not a person that can do everything because they show him that he can't do everything.
I do like that he's just big and scary, but just being big and scary isn't all it takes.
Well, go ahead.
I will also say, so I was trying to remember because I was laughing because I think at one point Alfred Molina tells Sully, he's like, oh, I have big expectations for you or something of that similar nature. And didn't he say like a very similar line in Spider-Man 2? Like he has like big expectations of Peter or something? Because like in my mind,
all I can think of is the brilliant but lazy line.
Okay. Because in my mind, I was like, wow, this feels like they pulled these lines out of Spider-Man to put it in here. I was like, wow, that's kind of funny. He's playing the same kind of character.
I have an honest question.
Yeah.
For you guys right now. I believe it was Alfred Molina. There's a scene where he asks Sully, or he says the color of Sully's polka dots. And I believe he says pink. But I've always seen Sully's polka dots as purple.
Oh, boy.
I gotta look up a picture.
Are they not purple?
I've personally...
Because that's pink.
Yes.
Right?
The shirt that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Wally, the headless Wally is yellow. Mostly.
I think his dots are more pink.
It looks purple, but I think they are like a very
you're gonna go pink. Dark pink.
That blew my mind.
Blue. He's blue. I get it. Let's see. There should be an appearance section on here. Someone keep talking while I read this with sunglasses on.
Oh,
hey! The wiki says purple spots.
Oh!
Woo! Now we got a fight going. Let's
That's interesting. So actually, really quick, so everybody watching this, either comment. Can you comment on Spotify or?
No, you can't.
I don't know. I don't listen to podcasts.
Well, so
It's funny. This guy's on a podcast. He doesn't listen to
I know.
podcasts.
I
so
like
weird.
making them. I don't like listening to them.
But yeah, so please comment on our YouTube or wherever if you think his spots are pink or purple.
It's gonna be this dress thing all over again. I don't even know what color it was because I don't remember.
It was I think it was black. I think it was. No, it was blue.
No, is it the blue or the yellow?
Blue
remember?
or yellow.
It
I
was
thought I
blue
saw
or gold.
the yellow. Or gold. I thought I saw the gold
It was
one.
blue and black or gold and white.
Yeah,
And it
let's not
depended-
get into
It
this.
depended. It's because of the way it was shot in the light. Your eyes had to adjust to it before it showed the real color.
Yes.
And I think
It all
the
came
real
down
color
to like
was
the exposure.
like blue
and
and
the white
black.
balance. They were messing
No, it wasn't.
God, here we go. Anyway, I will say, speaking of the cast, the other name that I was surprised when he popped up, the first scene when they're it's little Mike and
John Krasinski.
Yeah,
I heard him right away. Right away, I go.
I'm listening
I think
to
that's
him
John
talk.
Krasinski.
I'm like, is that Jim?
It's like why does John Krasinski sheep keep showing up in these animated movies for like one scene? Because remember, he's in the third Shrek movie.
And remember, he is in Doctor
I-
Strange: Multiverse of Madness. That's
Yeah, he
mostly
is.
an animated movie, isn't it?
Yeah, and he gets red vined.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say though, it's just in
Blue
Shrek the
Vine.
Third.
He just said blue vine.
Blue Vine. Yeah. But in Shrek the Third, he's like, I am Lance. That dork over there is Arthur. Go. We got John Krasinski for like 5 lines.
How are they getting
Okay.
this man to do all these things? Oh my gosh.
So I'll segue into, because you mentioned that's the whole reason for the movies in this is his name is Frank McKay, putting the hat on Mike's head, and that inspires Mike to be a scarer.
Yeah.
And that I want to talk about the message of the movie. I think is pretty good.
It's a fantastic, and I am so glad they finished it. How they at the end. I feel like if this wasn't Pixar, if this was a different studio, the dean would have let them back in. And I'm so glad it ended with the dean not letting them back in, and them just and then just working towards it and getting like that. That is such a good message.
I was gonna say that the message of the movie is basically like, no matter how hard you try, sometimes your dreams don't work out.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I remember I kind of got that the first time. But I mean, I was just freshly out of high school, like literally like 2 weeks out of high school when this came out. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then now this time it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's okay. Because for Mike, he can be the hardest worker. But no matter what, he's just not that. Mm-hmm. He tries so hard to be something he's not. And that doesn't mean he's not good at parts of it. He's just not scary. And I remember that whole message being like that. But they could have left it at that. And at that point, it's like, that's a little mean-spirited. Mm. But they followed up with the feeling of, it's okay.
So yeah, because then
you still have value. It's
and
not
they
like this
showed him
is everything.
Working at the company, like through the mailroom and in each of the different spots, and he's still working towards his goal, but he just didn't do it the way that he thought he should.
Yeah, well, he doesn't achieve. His dream is to be a scarer. He does not achieve it because we
No,
know
that's true.
he's
At
not
the
a
end of the
scarer.
day, he does not.
And I like how and Jake brought this up too when we were talking beforehand. Like he goes into the human world at the end there to prove that he is scary because he just will not believe it. And that's relatable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then he comes to that realization: I'm just not scary. No matter what I do, no matter how hard I work, how much I study, I'm just not scary. But Sully needs him for that scare. Mm-hmm. For Sully, for all the potential and natural talent, he doesn't have it all, as you said earlier in this podcast. And I like how they work together to set up that scare. Mm-hmm. And it is a pretty great moment when they blow that door back open.
That's such
and
a great
Hard
scene.
Scrabble, who has not shown much emotion this whole time,
The face
is like just in shock. Like, how did you do that? And yeah, of course they're not getting back in there. Of course they're expelled for that.
Of course. Yeah, as you should be. If you blow up a room on campus.
They went into the human. They're not supposed to do that.
Well, yeah.
They did that. They went in illegally. They used, a door like it just so much stuff. Mm-hmm. Getting that. And yes, go ahead.
I would say I'm glad you brought that up though, because that is one of the things that I did write down. Is let me find where it says So like I always thought that Mike's strength has always been more teaching and coaching, and this movie is where it shows where that came from in the first Monsters Inc. And I thought that's really, God, that's just like you don't see those kind of lessons taught in kids movies that often. Like
Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yeah.
There's one of them.
That's true. Kung Fu Panda 3.
That's about the only thing I can think of. But that whole thing of like the not really passing the torch, teaching others is kind of passing the torch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
it's kind of in that same vein.
You can also find, there's a word I'm looking for. I can't think of. Never mind.
Okay.
Just never mind. There's a word there. Like, you can find like help and like good feelings in teaching, and there is a specific term, and it's like. Anyway.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so there's a moment when it shows them working in the mailroom that hurts the continuity without more context, and that's when the abominable snowman walks through, and he walks through and says something, and then I remember thinking what
tampering with mail will get you banished, something like that.
Yeah, and so, oh man, okay, I'll get to why that feels different now, but in that moment I remember like, how does that? But he's in the but how, so they already know him. It is a retcon, but they slightly kind of fix that in the show.
So what all was? I just trying to remember. This isn't me trying to remember Monsters.
Everybody watched the show.
I don't know.
It's me trying to remember Monsters Inc. Now. What all was said about him? And there, like, what I'm trying to remember, like, what is this retconning? Like, what's the
just like because it feels like when you watch that first movie, they don't know him. They're not really talking to him like a friend.
I think they mentioned that they knew him though.
I don't think he comes up in that first movie until they're there.
Yeah, but they
yes,
say
he does.
You've been missing for.
Yeah.
It's a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's
yeah.
Like you've been missing for 10 years, or you were banished for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you've been.
Yeah, I
don't remember
something
that.
like that.
No, yeah, Jake. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Thank you.
I'm trying to go through the whole scene in my head because I don't remember.
I could have sworn.
So it's like, abominable, do I look abominable? They should call me the adorable snowman or the agreeable snowman for crying out loud. I'm a nice guy. Snow cone. Ugh. No, okay, it's lemon. Then they talk about Boo, and then he talks about going to the human village. I don't think they ever bring it up.
I'm pretty sure there was a quick line in there about it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but then the show. I finished the show.
Congratulations.
So I watched like the first 6 episodes for the first Monsters Incorporated movie in this, and I finished it for this, so it's all full circle. I kind of like it.
Really?
I don't know how good it is. It's clearly aimed at a way younger demographic than usual, like littler kids. I kind of like it, and I kind of am welcoming another season.
Oh my god!
It's weird. Because the first couple episodes, like, I don't really care for this. But then by the end, I was like, I'm kind of feeling this. I like them exploring the factory more. I like some of these new characters. I laughed a couple times. And then there's an episode. This is spoilers for the show if anyone cares about monsters at work.
3, 2, 1, spoiler.
So in episode 8, the main character, again, is Tyler.
Okay.
And if you recall me saying... he was going to be a scarer, and when he gets there day one, that's the day they get shut down and become a laugh factory. So, and he's not funny.
Which I have a quick question.
Yes.
This is a little bit of a side note, a little bit of not. But
how is it a side note?
It just popped up in my mind. It's not really. What do you think is harder? And Jake, I'm curious for your input on this too. What do you think is harder? To be scary or to be funny?
Funny.
Funny is harder.
That's what I was thinking. They almost switched to a more difficult way of making
Well, I personally think I can be fairly funny. I'm not scary at all. Not in the slightest. So it does come down to a kind of one or the other. Probably plenty of people are both, but in that world, I would not be good at being a scarer. Not at all.
I feel like it's easier to like.
Same with you.
Oh, well, I know I'm not a scary person at all.
No.
No.
What do you think, Jake? Which side of that coin do you think you are?
You think it'd be easier to be a scarer or a
For you,
Joker?
for you personally, what do you think you'd be better at? Here, give us a good roar.
Roar.
Ooh, you know.
Ah! I would be scarier because I walk like a zombie.
Gotcha. So,
Sorry.
in the show,
I notated.
so in the 8th episode, Tyler accidentally lets the abominable snowman come back.
Ah.
Now, what happens is he gets knocked into that door, the banishment door, on accident. He meets him, and he's being all buddy-buddy with him. And Tyler's like, I gotta get back. So he goes, but he leaves the door open. So that's how he gets out. And, of course, he knows everybody.
Oh, okay.
And as the episode's happening, I'm like, okay, fine. And then by the end of the episode, I was like, oh, that's kind of a good episode. I kind of liked that. They find out he was banished because, and remember what you said about the mail?
Yes.
He saw a letter from Water, something that had to do with the
Water?
Scream extractor that Randall had.
No way.
That's why he got banished.
Look at that.
Yeah. So they let him back. He sells snow cones in the factory now.
Huh.
And they had John Ratzenberger voice him, and I like how when Mike and Sully see him, Sully's happy. He goes, adorable, you're here. I got a little bit. I was like, oh. But there is a line that kind of fixes the continuity because when Tyler's like, oh, no, Mike and Sully are running the factory now, and he goes, oh yeah, I remember those guys. I used to work in the mailroom with them. They were here a couple months ago. That was a couple weeks ago. Months, years. What's the difference here? I go, I think they just fixed it. I don't know how well, but yeah. This show, 8 years after this prequel movie comes out, they kind of fix that. It's like, okay, it's a really fun world. We're in the factory 90% of the show, but there is an episode where they go to like a baseball sort of game that has its own rules where they hit like 3 balls at once or something. It was weird.
Huh.
But yeah, that's my whole tangent on Monsters at Work and how it fits into the Monsters Incorporated lore. There's your word for you.
That is interesting, honestly. That is
Yeah, so
very,
they
very
fixed the
interesting.
continuity. But I do remember in that moment in the theater being like, what? That just feels lazy. And now I'm like, it probably is a little bit, but they kind of fixed it, so whatever.
Although that was the second best cameo. The first one being Roz, of course. I'll always be watching.
Always be watching.
Yeah, she's in the show too.
Oh, really?
Kinda. Her sister takes over her post because she was undercover. Rose.
Right. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Wait. Roz and Rose?
Yep.
Rose and Roz.
And it's the same voice.
Of course.
So it's like, and there is a
it's the
joke
exact
where
same
Mike says
voice.
like, are you, because like Roz is gone most of the season and it's Rose, and then Roz shows up at the end, but Rose in there is like, are you sure it's your sister? Because I've not seen the two of you in the same room. I go, okay, that's kind of fun. Again, the show has an interesting thing about like, and that's what I liked about the last episode. It's like they need to hit a quota for energy. Oh, here's the other thing. They have to hit a quota because otherwise they're going to get shut down, and I think it's like, what was it? There's another rival company that's still doing scaring and doing better. Scareco or something, or Fearco.
That's interesting.
So they have to hit a quota, and that's why all they're called jokesters. Remember?
Do you want to know what vibe that gives me?
What?
That gives me like a it's not Eagle Fang. It's Miyagi-Do. Oh my God, what's it? Karate.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
That
Wow,
was a
what a workaround. That exact setup is a very similar setup to Cobra Kai. That's really, really interesting.
And it's basically they have a joke class of people who want to be jokesters,
Uh-huh.
and it's like we need all of them to try it. This is their chance to be a temporary jokester, so we can hit this quota. And like Tyler's going through this thing of do I stay with the maintenance crew or not, and then it works pretty well. And I was kind of like, come on, let's hit this quota. And one thing, because I remember at the start of the show, the canisters. Remember the canisters at the end of the first movie are huge for the laughs.
Yeah.
In this one, they weren't. I go, what's going on? In that last episode, one of the maintenance people says, or the maintenance people are trying to figure out, like, how do we get more energy? And Tyler says, well, it's 10 times more powerful. Why don't we get a bigger canister? So they come up with a prototype and use it at the end there, and that's what helps them because they run out of canisters, but then they have the prototype that saves the day. And I remember thinking, like, they fix it. Man, this, because it takes place after the water noose getting arrested scene, and then before the end of the movie where he goes to see Boo again sometime later. That's where the show is taking place right now, because this is them getting it started. So again, there's a lot of interesting things about this. It is a kid's show, and it's aimed for a younger audience. And I was watching it just as like homework. But as I was watching, it's like, I'm kind of liking this. This is weird. I like this. And that's my super long Monsters at Work tangent and how it affects the Monsters Incorporated cinematic universe.
But honestly, you bringing that up and the fact that in Monsters University they have like the classes on how to build doors and how to build canisters. There's a lot that goes into the world building on this. Like you really don't think about it, but there is. It's
fun.
It is. It's good fun. I would be so curious, and I know it wouldn't have the same power because it wouldn't have Mike and Sully in it. But like, throw us like back like in the beginning of like how even they like this world even came to like find like power like with figuring out how to go into the human world and scare them.
You mean like electricity? No, okay.
Like, that just seems so interesting to me. Is like, how do you discover that? Like, I think they made Monsters University good. Obviously, that's because Mike and Sully are in it, and then you still have your main characters carrying over. But like,
and it's basically Animal House for kids.
Animal House for kids.
In my opinion, it's better.
It is a lot. Given that I just watched Animal House.
Yeah. It's better. I mean, what college movie is not influenced by Animal House in some way? But I like this a lot better. Yeah. There's nothing in this that makes me hurt.
Can you tell what I am? I'm a zit. Such a...
Yeah, I know. I know the iconic part.
I don't. Bliss.
You've never seen that scene? Or
I've not seen a single... The only scene I've seen from Animal House is the one where he smashes the guitar against
that is a funny...
the wall.
I do like the line, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to live life, son.
Yeah. Well, not even that, like the end rallying quote was like, oh, when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, the Germans, he's on a roll.
Did we give up on the Germans bomb Harbor? Hell no. Did the Germans bomb Pearl Harbor? Stop, he's on a roll. Anyway, back to the good movie.
But yeah, this did that good. It did like the dancing scene is one that really stands out to me. And thinking about how like this is similar to college partying, like when he's like pulling Sully in, that
was the moment in the movie that I started to connect to the Uzma Kappa characters, because I remember thinking like I like them and they're fine, but at that part it's like he's dancing and they're dancing. And of course they're gonna get humiliated. That's what's gonna happen. But when he's like dancing and Sully has this like pouty face up,
he's like, nah,
and then he starts pulling them in, and he pulls them in, and they all start dancing. I'm like, I'm having a good time watching this. Yeah. I'm laughing, I'm smiling. This is fun. This is a fun movie.
Fun characters.
I kind of wish there was more, but I don't know what else you do with the maybe some of the Uzma Kappa gang can show up in Monsters at Work, because they got back into the scaring program, but now years later, it doesn't exist at this one company. Who knows? That's the other thing. How does this affect the rest of the companies if something more sustainable is out there? The show could keep going.
They just found a more sustainable energy, kind of like solar or wind or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what.
And they literally don't have to change anything necessarily. They still have the doors. They just get the bigger canisters and they just be funny. That's what's so funny about this. It's
I think we need to put on the sign right here. We need to put in big bold letters. #1 fan of Monsters at Work. I don't think anybody likes the show as much as Jared does.
He's got you there.
I I didn't even expect it. First half of the season, I was like, whatever. I don't think I can watch any more of these. And then this time, I was like, I kind of want more. Screw the Mandalorian. Disney Plus, give me more Monsters at Work now. Andor, never heard of her. Yeah, I do like this movie. I don't think, I'm not trying to talk down. No. It's like when you step back, it's nothing super exceptional or nothing even super memorable. It's just enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what a lot of Pixar sequels fail to be, if it's not Toy Story. Like the Nemo sequel, we'll see how a rewatch works, but I wasn't having that good of a time when I watched it. The Cars, the second Incredibles has parts, but as a whole, but I was like, I like the middle. I don't like the beginning or the end that much. I like the middle. Sure. But I wasn't having a ton of fun the whole time. And are there any other sequels I'm forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting one. Oh, we're getting an Inside Out 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I decided that.
I don't know.
Yeah, you said Dory.
Yeah, I think it's it so far. So, yeah, I think this is the best non-Toy Story sequel. I like this better than Toy Story 3. I think it's more consistent. Its highs are nowhere near as high, but its lows are nowhere near as low.
That's a valid point. You know what? I think I'll agree with you on that one.
It's probably, I don't think it's better than 4, but we'll see how 4 rewatch, because again, I haven't seen 4 since theaters. Mm-hmm. But I think the only Pixar sequel better than Monsters University is Toy Story 2.
I'd have to. I'll have to wait. Like you said, right on the Toy Story 4 rewatch. But this is. Well, I also think. I don't mean to keep razzing on it, but like the parts that I remember from this are the silly, goofy parts.
Yeah. But there is a really good, serious character moment in the third act that is really good.
Okay, you say that after I say the silly, goofy part. So
okay, get the goofy part out of the way.
Do you remember the scene in the beginning when they I don't remember exactly what Mike said to Randall, but it was like, hey, I think you'd look better without your glasses, or something of that nature. And he took off his glasses and he did that, like the evil squint that he did. I'm like, really? Is that what they're trying to say? This comes from his squint, is from him needing glasses.
He has astigmatism.
Like, I feel like that's the same kind of thing as like them saying Han Solo got his name because he was traveling alone. Like, it's something so stupid and.
It's like I didn't need that.
Right, and that's just me dogging on a small.
You also didn't need Rogue One, but you got that.
Yeah.
I know that's me dogging on a small thing, but I just was like, really?
Rogue One's not a small thing; it's a big problem. Oh, you're talking about the Randall thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. And anyway, so the best scene of the movie is the lake scene.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because I was actually on Twitter days before watching it and scroll past, and there's an account that's like animated moments that make us feel or something like that. And that was one of them. And I watched it because I was like, I remember people talking about this and really liking this, but I don't remember much about the scene. And I watched it, I go, that's really good. And that was without watching the movie before, and then watching it in the context, it was like, it's not too long. It's just everything plays out naturally, and I like the whole it's not just Mike coming to the realization. It's Sully also telling him like you know how you're not the only failure. Mm-hmm. Like I have all this pressure on me, and I because it is a moment for Mike too, because like you've had everything given to you so easy. He's like it's not, and I'm like this is good. And then that leads up to the scare and everything at the end. I go, man, what a great scene. You know, that's probably the most emotional scene since Toy Story 3 for this. It's been a couple movies since we've had a scene that emotional.
You're probably right, actually. Yeah, I can't think of anything before this that would have. Well,
there's only two movies between Toy Story 3 and this, but still, two whole movies without a moment like that, and that's not usual for Pixar through 14 movies at this point. It's like usually each movie has something. Even the first Cars. The Our Town sequence is at least in that same ballpark.
Pixar is usually good at having those conversations that mean a lot to a character, and it's just one of the ones that you can always recognize.
That's why there's nothing like that in Cars 2.
No.
Brave tries and it kind of fails.
Yeah.
But then this one felt natural.
It did.
Everything built to this moment, and it just plays out pretty perfectly for what you'd expect. Were you gonna say something, or are you just saying?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I know I don't usually do it. I would be afraid of it myself, but
You're agreeing with Jared?
yeah.
Oh my god.
I have a kind of a nitpicky observation to point out. Is it just me, and yes, this is animated so much so much better than the first one, obviously because of technology.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I think that they made a decision to change the texture of Mike's
Were you
character
looking
model.
it up just now?
No.
I was
So
curious
that's-
if you
that's
because you were talking about it
interesting.
before, and I was like,
I
did
didn't-
they?
I
He does
didn't-
look greener
He
and
looks smoother.
Yeah,
And that's
he is younger.
I suppose
That's
fair.
part of it, but I don't know if that fixes it. It's more of a,
I just feel like the original character model had a little bit more depth to it visually because of some of those imperfections that maybe were a fault of the animation at the time, maybe were a choice. I know he's younger, but the other thing I like is the little tiny detail of every time he walks up to a line or a threshold, he looks at it and steps over it.
I do.
That's a nice little pause.
Well, and the fact that he keeps doing that too throughout the movie, like it's a
stepping
really
on campus before he goes in for that scare when he's a kid, when he's stepping off campus now being expelled.
and then when he's stepping onto the scare floor at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good little thing to pick out there. That was really did like them using that thing over and over again.
Motif.
Yeah, look at the vocabulary.
Pinky, when in doubt, pinky out. So I think the last little thing I'll mention is that the individuals of the Uzma Kappa gang, we're okay. That got me good.
Yeah,
But it's just a fun bunch. It plays into all the cliches, but no one's annoying.
But it's
Of the games, my favorite one is always the library one. I mean,
Yeah.
the 2 times I've seen it, that is the most fun, and the sense of scale with that librarian and the way it changes.
well, it's like it's so close and use it.
Again, I love those types of jokes. However, one of those types of jokes that I did not like was the one with the slug from this.
Oh, you didn't like
I
that?
did not
I thought that was funny.
I did not laugh at that.
No.
Not the way I did at the.
Are you talking about I'm gonna be late for class on the first day? That I laughed and then it kept going. I went, that's right, and then it's like
2 seconds too
it
long.
felt like a Family Guy joke where they just sit in it,
Yeah, that's.
and I was like, we gonna watch
Can
him
we
get
move
all the
on,
way there?
please?
Well, and obviously they bring it back at the very end.
Yeah. Poor guy.
I feel that honestly.
I
Almost doing a bunch
did
of things.
find Art very funny. I mean, Charlie Day voiced him, and Charlie Day's funny,
I'm
but
sorry. Charlie Day is perfect.
yeah, I do like their field trip, quote unquote, where they go to
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. and look, and that was fun. And then when they get now, at first I was like, why are they working that late? Overtime, sure. Like I was like, well,
Maybe?
that's the middle of the night, whatever. But then when the security finds them, I can't go back to jail.
Yeah.
That was the only part of the movie that stuck with me super clear from that first watch, and this time I was still laughing.
Do you want to know what part always stuck with me? That I think I mentioned this for Monsters Inc. or the last time they mentioned this movie is when the mom was saying, "Oh, you guys have fun. I'm just gonna be listening to the tunes." Like I just gotta get. It's stupid.
Wasn't
it's
that was
so
on TikTok or something for a while? Wasn't
It probably was.
I thought like
yeah.
people younger than me have brought up
And-
because I'm like, you know what? One part of the movie always makes me laugh, and to me, it's the art line that I just said, and then I was like, oh, it's the tunes, and in my mind, I'm like, what are you talking about? But now having seen it, I'm like, oh, that's right, I forgot about this.
Well, because I think for a second, you're right. For a second on TikTok, I think that, and then people were memeing it, and then like putting their own sound over it, and like having it being whatever. Like, it's it's such a great opportunity.
That was a little weird that Don Carlton
Die.
and what's his name's mom hooked up. I was like,
I feel bad for.
I
him.
know
That
it was kind of
sucks.
funny. It was kind of like, oh, okay. Don was making me laugh pretty.
Don
hard.
is he is a champ, man. I love Don.
I know. I just
I used to be the king of secret attacks. Oh, sorry. They make noise when I sweat.
I don't think
I just thought I like how it's like he's gone to school after having a career before. It's like I just thought I'd try out mascara and chops or whatever he says. He's got his card with him. I do like how when he tries to distract them at the end, they just arrest him. That was pretty good. Yeah, and then the two-headed Terry and Terry, which are Sean Hayes and Dave Foley. It's nice to see Dave Foley again. That's Flick from Bug's Life. I believe that's yep. And then Sean Hayes is from I almost said Grace and Will and Grace.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, and Cat in the Hat. Fired. I think it's him, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I think you're right. Actually,
I gotta
exactly
I gotta fact check that just because I'm pretty sure that's him.
I'm pretty sure
yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is 2 weeks in a row now that we have directly mentioned Cat in the Hat
for different reasons. But yeah. When Mike Sully and the Uz Macappa guys all hug, I remember the first time I watched that, I was like, okay, that's a nice little moment. This time I was like, I'm actually feeling it a little bit. That's a nice little moment. That's a good movie.
It is.
This is much better than I thought it was.
Well, and I think the fact that it nails the ending is what does it too. Because like if it like endings are super important, obviously. So like if this fumbled at all at the end, I don't think it would have held up as much as it does. But now it's so. I just really like how they like where they put Charlie. What the heck am I thinking of? Mike and Sully. I really like that they learned their lesson and they didn't get out of it.
And they worked their way up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a good lesson to teach. You don't always get what you want, but at the end of the day, it's gonna work out.
It's okay. It's okay to not accomplish your dreams because a lot of times it doesn't happen.
Yeah, like
but that doesn't mean it's over.
It's such an adult lesson for a kids movie. Like it's really honestly impressive.
Yeah, I'm liking it more and more as I think and talk.
Yeah, honestly, the more we talk about it, the more it's jumping up.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to say about Monsters University?
I think that's wow. I just looked down. I saw it's rated G. That's kind of surprising, but all right. I figured this would have been at least PG with some of the more like games and stuff, but it's whatever.
You mean when they get all puffed up?
Yeah.
That was actually really
I want to touch him. It's like you do not want to. I want to touch him.
Yeah. Well, looking ahead next week, we've got
coming up
Inside Out. There's a year gap between these two. That was the first time I think for Pixar since like 2005.
I'm missing a page.
You're missing a page.
I'm missing a page. It goes from 14 to 16.
Are you sure?
I think you have 2 pages in your hand.
No, I don't.
Are you sure?
It goes from Monsters University to Good Dinosaur. Because when you said Inside Out, I'm like,
oh wait, Good Dinosaur's in the next 2 weeks.
Inside Out. Oh, it's backwards. You put my binder together backwards.
2 pages, not the whole thing.
Sorry, just had to point it out.
Yeah. But yes, Inside Out's next week. We'll talk about it then. Dickey, where can the good people find us?
If you want to follow us on the social medias, you can follow us at Off Slate Media on Twitter if Elon hasn't run that into the ground, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. We also are there. If you can listen to us on all the podcasting websites like podcast, yay, like Spotify, like Apple, like Stitcher, like iHeartRadio, like anything you listen to your podcast. Check us out at All Slate Media and like and comment and subscribe and ring our bell here on YouTube. Make sure to rate us on the podcasting websites and check out our website at offslatemedia.com.
Thank you, Dickey.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you next week. That's all from the Off Slate group for Dimlits. We'll see you next week.
Go watch Inside Out.
Yeah, go watch Inside Out. Bye.
Riz. You ever heard of Riz before?
Yeah, Ahmed, the actor.
No.
See,
People's knees.
you guys.
Cricket, are you okay? And I literally eat garbage. Yeah, Waluje. Rizzo from Grease. Rizzo the rat.
I thought I
Ratso
heard
Rizzo
Grizz.
from Midnight Cowboy. It's like instead of learning actual words, we just make up dumb ones and stick a pacifier in our mouths.
Sure.
You know, millennials taught Gen Z.
Yes,
Oh, I hate millennials too.
You are a millennial.
Mm-hmm. I hate my own kind.
He hates himself.
Yes.
I was a true emo though. I hated it.
Apparently they took a blood oath.
Here, George Kelly Barnes, better known as his pseudonym Machine Gun Kelly, was an American gangster from Memphis, Tennessee. He died on July 18th, 1954 at the age of 59. That's my Machine Gun Kelly, a murderer.
Okay, well, no one's as bad as Kanye.
We're okay.
Congratulations.
We talked for like 5 minutes about Machine Gun Kelly. We're okay. Stop it.
That's it.
We did it. Okay, yeah, we're okay. Go stop the camera.
You see